Gump Report. This is my Gump Report. That sounded nasty. But let's talk about Killer Kross. Now, it's been at least 15 or 18 days since the Chris Van Vliet video. I think either 15, 18 days. So it's been at least 2 weeks since he did the video with his wife, Scarlet. And the kicker here is, how did people feel about it? Now, I've seen that entire segment. I did not see the video that he put out on his own channel for the story of Killer Kross. When I saw it was when I was getting ready to do something, but then I forgot. I was doing something, I was getting ready to do this video, then I forgot because it was something else I had to do. So I have not seen his original video that he put out on his own channel, talking about what he was going through. So the question is, what does this all mean? How did he feel? What did Scarlet feel? And let's make this very clear. If you watch the Chris Van Vliet video, which I'm sure many people have, you will see that he and his wife are doing way more on the indies and have more interest on the indies than they would in WWE. And that's the kicker, guys. They legitimately are having more fun. Now, mind you, with Scarlet, she made it very clear. We still love WWE. And if we could go back, and she made it very clear, I would love to go back. But Killer Kross has made it very clear. What would we go back to? He made it very clear. The first time he left, he rebuilt himself. Because what did he do? He was in NXT. He did well. He wasn't one of the greatest wrestlers. And JD made it very clear. He's a great character, but he's not one of the greatest wrestlers. I'll say that he's above average easily. He's an above average wrestler. But also, you guys got to remember, really good wrestlers are usually told by creative to tone it back a little bit. If they say you can't do so many flips and kicks because of your character, you got to do what you're told. And as Scarlett said, we always had an open mind of whatever they gave us to do. If they told us to do this, we did it. But we tried our best to make the most out of it. And with him, from what I know, he's a good wrestler. He's not one of the greatest wrestlers, but he's also a good wrestler with a good character. So I understand JD, but for me personally, I'm sure on the indies he's doing way more than he would have done if he was on regular WWE TV. He also made it very clear, and this was a surprise, the storyline with him and The Miz, I really wasn't totally fond of it, but he made it very clear that he loved working with The Miz. He loved the storyline with The Miz because he showed another side of his character. And I do agree. He did show another side of his character. I didn't like that side of his character. Not because I didn't think he did well. It was that if he doesn't win, the character doesn't work. And he kept losing. It was having problems. And being with Final Testament wasn't enough. Particularly, as I've said for a long time, you had Final Testament and need to be built. You had the Hurt Business, they need to be built. Why did you stick them both together so soon when they were already just beginning to build themselves up? And you ruined them both by forcing them to work together when they weren't ready to work together. He didn't say that happened, and he didn't really say a lot about working with Paul and then working with Arkham and Akam. He didn't really say much about them. But I'm sure they're friendly. No problem. But he made it very clear he loved working with The Miz, and he thanked him so much because next to having a good amount of knowledge, he was selfless. And this is something that we've always heard about The Miz for more than a few years. That, yes, he's a generic wrestler, as many people would say he is. To me, he's not like that. I've always thought The Miz, when he's allowed to be himself and just let it rip, he does great. Is he one of the best in the ring? No. But just like Hogan, just like Austin, just like The Rock, not all of them are incredibly great wrestlers. And particularly, as I said earlier, when it came to Killer Kross, the company sometimes tells you, if you can do this, they tell you to tone it down to this. So with The Miz, he probably can wrestle way more than that. and be more aggressive and be more precise, but they tell him to tone it back, and he's been like that for a long time. He knows how far to go with it. Look what he's done with Carmelo Hayes. He's done a pretty good job with him. So for me, knowing The Miz helped out both of them, well, at least Killer, it's okay. Then hearing how frustrated he was, that he wanted to do more in the company. He asked them, what do I need to do more for the company? I'm being paid this money. It is not just about trying to get to the top. I understand I can't. But what else can I do to be useful? To earn my keep. That's what he wanted the most. To earn his keep. To show that he's working. To show that they can trust and appreciate him. And even if he doesn't become one of the top stars, like I've always stated, it's not always having the title. It's about being relevant. That's what it's always been about. Relevancy. Look what happened with CM Punk. Look what happened on Raw with CM Punk, the way he was being cheered. It wasn't about him being one of the greatest wrestlers on the planet. It was about being one of the most relevant wrestlers on the planet. That's why he was cheered for almost 10 years. And that's what he wants. And they didn't do a damn thing. And now knowing that he's actually helped to produce a movie and even acted in it, interesting. And I think it was with, not Sundance, but more like these independent movie studios I think he was working with. So, and this is the thing that got me. Since they shut down WWE studios, no more movies, nothing. He said, look, can I do something? I don't want to leave wrestling. I'm willing to do both. I'm willing to work in a movie and wrestle. Give me something to work with. Let me know what I can do. And he was told at one point, and this was part of the podcast, that they said, okay, you want to do this? We'll introduce you to somebody. Nothing happened. And he said he did know some friends in movie industry. So he said, look, let me hang out with you. I want to learn this because I want to be a better wrestler. I want to be more. I want to earn my keep. And he went and learned it, caught the bug of acting, and now also, next to wrestling, he could do movies. And here's the thing, Scarlett's side of how things were, particularly working with her husband, and how angry he was. And you could see that these two are goofballs, because when that moment came, when they were talking about Matt Cardona and gerbils or guinea pigs or something up his ass, you saw them break down laughing. It was so funny to see them just... These two are meant for each other. I don't believe that when the wrestling career for either one of them is over, if Scarlett gets pregnant and has a kid, they're breaking up. They look legitimately they're going to stay together for the rest of each other's lives. And that's nice to see. Now, all wrestlers, when they pair up with another wrestler, work out very well. Many times they just break up. But that also happens with a regular person with a wrestler. They don't stay together all the time. They usually get divorced and get married again. But for them, I think this might work. At least, unless she does something dumb or he does something dumb. And I'm going to look at them both like, you stupid idiots, you had something special. But they just seem to be goofballs, and she supposedly has made him a more calmer person because of her personality. They just seem to work together. They actually flowed very well when they were talking. When you see that Scarlett was talking, and yeah, they kind of talked over each other like any couple would, but they weren't the type they would have an attitude or anything. They kind of complimented each other pretty well. In the end, for me, this is what I took away from the Chris Van Vliet video. Killer Kross, is now in the indies, and he's doing well. He's having fun, and that is what many people tend to forget when it comes to wrestling. They think, you got to do this. No. They get into it because they love it. Now, mind you, they still want this because they need a future. But having fun, or what you do, is why you do it. And I'm glad to see they're having fun again. Now, does this mean he's going back to WWE? I don't think he's going back anytime soon, if ever. Mostly due to the fact of how they see him. He may not have a problem with Triple H, no. But if they're not going to do anything with him, not after 2 tries with him. Remember the first try, when Vince got his hands on him, he gave him the gladiator helmet. And then the second time with Final Testament, but they still didn't get very far, particularly when they started working with the Hurt Syndicate, which I truly believe screwed them up. What will you get in a third run? I don't know, but I don't believe that he's going to go back to that. Next to that, will he go to AEW? Will he go to TNA? Or will he stay on the Indies? This is what I heard him say. When it came to AEW, he's already talked to Tony. He didn't say the full conversation, but he made it very clear to keep the options open. But I do believe Scarlett said it best. She said, if we are going to go to AEW, that is our home. We're taking the flag, we're going to fly it, and we're going to be a member of that no matter what. If they're going to stick with it until the doors close, they're going to stick with it until the doors close. But like she said, if you still have feelings from the other place, because she made it very clear, she would love to go back, even though they didn't really treat her very well, particularly with a contract when he was going to be trying to, technically not renegotiate. They weren't going to renew it unless he was willing to do what they wanted, and they would not do anything with her contract until his contract was done, and they got 2 separate contracts. She still thinks the place is wonderful and she loves it. I can understand that. But do I believe they're going to go back? No. But eventually they will make the decision if they want to go to AEW or not. TNA, I don't know if they go to TNA. Doesn't mean they won't. I just don't know if they're going to go there, not immediately, due to the fact of the program that's going on, the collaboration that happened with WWE. They could. I just don't know if it's going to be now. I think what's going to happen, you give it more than a year. Maybe we'll see them in AEW. Maybe we'll see them in TNA. Maybe after a year easily. Because he does have history in TNA. But I do believe it'll be more than a year before they decide to go to either one. It's hard to say. But this is just me, and I hope you enjoyed this Gump Report. Please give me a comment below. I'm going to see if I can do more of these. It's always hard to do them in batches of 2, 3, or 4 because there's not always any news that's going on. It's just hard to get them done. Peace.